In the heart of Perth, Western Australia, under bright lights and before a capacity crowd that filled the arena with tension, noise, and national pride, Vasiliy Lomachenko entered the ring not just as a boxer chasing another title, but as a master technician seeking to remind the world why he once stood atop the pound-for-pound rankings. Opposite him stood George Kambosos Jr., the battle-hardened warrior from Sydney, a man who had climbed the mountain of world championship glory and now sought to defend home soil against one of the greatest technical fighters in the history of the sport. There was electricity in the air, a mixture of curiosity, excitement, and uncertainty. Lomachenko, now 36 years old, had been counted out by some following close decision losses and long layoffs. Kambosos, younger and hungry, had the tools, the heart, and the home crowd behind him. But from the opening bell, the difference in levels began to reveal itself, not in a flashy or brutal way, but in the quiet, punishing rhythm of pure mastery. Lomachenko moved like a ghost, light on his feet, unpredictable, darting in and out of range, changing angles so fast the camera could barely keep up. Every step had intention, every movement a setup for the next. He operated not as a brawler, but as a strategist, a grandmaster 3 moves ahead. In those early rounds, he barely threw power punches. He simply dissected, downloading Kambosos' habits, rhythms, and responses. When Kambosos threw his jab, Lomachenko countered before it even fully extended. When Kambosos tried to cut the ring off, Lomachenko would spin him, step around, and land 2 crisp shots before sliding away untouched. The Ukrainian southpaw's control was so precise, so complete, that Kambosos began to look confused. His aggression neutralized, his timing disrupted, his confidence slowly unraveled. As the middle rounds came, Lomachenko began to shift gears. The jab turned into flurries. The footwork turned into traps. He began targeting the body, digging left hands into Kambosos' ribs and liver, forcing him to slow down, to hesitate. And hesitation against a fighter like Lomachenko is a fatal error. Round after round, the gap widened. Kambosos' right eye began to swell, his punch output slowed, and his corner's instructions became more desperate. Still, the Aussie refused to fold, continuing to move forward, trying to land something meaningful, trying to will himself into the fight. But the man in front of him wasn't just another opponent. He was a puzzle, an illusion, a storm of movement and accuracy that couldn't be contained. By round 8, the fight was no longer competitive. It had become a showcase, an exhibition of boxing IQ, of discipline, of brilliance. Lomachenko was not showboating. He was not taunting. He was executing. Quietly, ruthlessly, perfectly. CompuBox statistics began to reflect what every viewer could see. Lomachenko was landing over 50% of his power punches, while making Kambosos miss by wide margins. He was using head movement, shoulder rolls, foot pivots, and step-arounds in ways that looked choreographed, but were brutally effective. Even in the moments where Kambosos tried to rally, throwing overhand rights and body combinations, Lomachenko smothered the shots, pivoted out of danger, and re-entered with a scoring punch of his own. By round 10, even the crowd, once roaring with support for the home fighter, had grown quiet, recognizing that they were witnessing something rare, the dismantling of a world-class fighter by someone operating on an entirely different plane. Then came round 11. Lomachenko, seeing the fatigue, seeing the target, went for the close. He feinted high, dipped low, and delivered a devastating left hand directly to Kambosos' liver. The reaction was instant. Kambosos dropped, his body folding, his face twisted in pain. The crowd gasped, his corner shouted, and the referee began the count. Though Kambosos attempted to rise, his corner threw in the towel, a decision made out of love and protection. The referee waved it off at 2 minutes and 49 seconds of the round. The fight was over. Lomachenko, blooded but composed, turned to the crowd, hand raised, not in arrogance, but in affirmation. He had done what many said he couldn't do at this stage of his career. He didn't just win a title. He dominated a former unified champion in his home country with timing, patience, and unmatched skill. This was not a fight that would be remembered for its brutality, but for its technical perfection, its control, its message. Vasiliy Lomachenko is still a master of his craft, still one of the smartest and sharpest fighters in the game. The IBF lightweight belt was now his, but more importantly, so was the renewed respect of the boxing world. In that ring, on that day, far from home, he gave a performance that was not only about reclaiming gold, but about reclaiming greatness. The Matrix had returned, and the division was officially on notice.